We are offering freelance services in data analytics, machine learning, audio engineering, and web development. Feel free to check out our website, services section, to see our portfolio and what we can do, and book a call with us to discuss your data challenges. We'll be happy to help you out. This is Data for Future. Enjoy this episode. All right, welcome to our new episode of Data for Future. We have already talked about smart cities in one of the previous episodes. And this is such a topic or such a definition, smart city, that before I was thinking about, skyscrapers, flying cars, drones delivering packages to customers, like something like a scene from a sci-fi movie. But in reality, is this actually a smart city? And what is a smart city? And so one of the things that I found really interesting, this example, that imagine you are in a bus stop and you're waiting for the bus. And recently your city government has installed a timer that shows you the bus will come in X amount of minutes. Now, you may think it's something, you may take it for granted. Many people. In my case, in my city, in Ukraine, while I was living there, it was not there. There was no timers. It might have happened that you wait in the night for 1 hour and you don't even know if the bus will come or not. And it's just such a small little example that, what, in your opinion, is it a smart city? Does it make a city smarter to install a timer on a bus stop? Well, today we have a guest in our show that will be able to answer our questions because he is one of the 50 best smart city experts around the world, according to World CSR. And welcome, Carlos, Agustí, Hernández, to Data for Future show. I'm really happy to...
Thank you. I'm happy also to be here, and congratulations for this interesting podcast about data. About open data, big data, governance data, and SDG, I think. So it's a really interesting mix and from Barcelona. So congratulations and thank you for it.
Great. So why don't you start by explaining just very briefly, how did you make Barcelona city smarter? What are the initiatives that you launched, supported?
Yes. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about smart city. You explained before what is. Smart city appears from years ago as nobody knows exactly what is two words, smart city. With pass of years, people link this smart city to technology. But exactly what? Technology and strategy, years after years, appears as a technological solution and a strategy for cities. And finally, the definition for me of a smart city is technological solutions to improve the day-to-day of people in the city. So these definitions, this confused initially smart city definition, finally lands to people, to citizens. So smart cities have sense when people can see this technology, this strategy. In this sense appears bus stop timers, for example, a lot of apps, different apps with different information, the open data, big data, etc. A smart city, finally, is an ecosystem of different families, not necessarily really linked between them. We can find smart health, linked to health, obviously, smart mobility, smart urbanism, smart citizens, smart governance, smart water, smart green, a lot of families, not necessarily linked. For example, smart governance with smart health is technology, but apply it to really different fields, not connected between them. My specialty, and I arrive to your question, is in this ecosystem is smart governance or smart citizens. You mentioned before that an organization sent me an award as one of the 50 experts in a smart city. Yes, but I am not expert exactly in all the smart cities, especially in smart governance or smart citizens. And in this field, I developed my work in Barcelona, as you questioned before. I developed a responsibility of citizen participation and associations commissioner in the City Hall of Barcelona. For me, it's better named open government for this question, and I develop Barcelona Open Government. That is called GOBCN, Go Barcelona, or Go Govern Obert in Catalan, Govern Obert Barcelona. So this is a naming work about this project. And I develop especially my work for Barcelona in this field of smart cities is especially linked to smart governance, especially with this project to develop Open Government of Barcelona, really linked, obviously, to technology tools. Yeah. Afterwards, I developed another Open Government in Barcelona Regional Government, an institution called Diputació de Barcelona, where I develop. And what is Open Government? Open Government is joining in only one strategy fields of open data, transparency, and citizen participation. Before open government, these fields or not exist or go alone, along with not connected between them. An open government put joining in a strategy transversal to all government, to all institution, changing the relations and the dialogue with citizens and of citizens with administration. To going to another model of administration, more close to citizens, listening, a different model that citizens are demanding from years ago. More or less, the summary of this project is this one.
So you mentioned lots of things that we will also discuss more in details. So just to make clear, of course, cities have lots of different facets, lots of different spheres, lots of different organs in this big organism, and you concentrate on smart governance, you said, and smart citizenship. And so what is exactly smart governance and smart citizenship before we dive into open government?
Is the link between governance and technology. Maybe for me this is the definition. Another way to say the same, applying participation processes with technology. Or technology, apply it to the dialogue and relations between public administration and citizens. Obviously, in cities with more than 1 million people, you need technology. You have technology or you do not good participation. So it's really necessary. I believe that all governance projects, especially this with an important amount of people, of population, need this technology really close. And where I develop projects, the TIC director, technology director, is really close to my position, and we dialogue every day different items, topics, projects, everyday relation. This is really important, and this explains this smart governance, smart citizen concept. Another definition that is interesting is linked to smart citizens. Obviously, is the mix between technology and people and public administration. But smart citizens means also that citizen is smart in the sense that the capability of citizens to arrive thinkings, arrive projects, arrive ideas to public administration. And this is really important. We arrive to the field of collective intelligence and knowledge management. This is the evolution of citizen participation and is inside this smart citizens, smart governance field. So we have to really value the knowledge of people.
Yeah.
It's not the important. It's not that people participate, fulfill a paper or send a mail, and to the quantity of people, 5,000 people participate. Not exactly. The important is the knowledge. How what we can capture of this knowledge to improve our governments, to improve our projects.
Okay.
This is my field of expertise, are the things that I try to apply in Barcelona in this open government project.
All right. So could you maybe give us some examples of, you say, well, from what I understood, smart governance is the way you perceive the public, the way you perceive how the city, what's happening in the city. And smart citizenship is rather that people, like the flow of communication from people to the government, right? There's more or less like this. What would be the examples of this kind of communication and knowledge as well that you said?
Yes,
that you capture?
Sure. I think that smart governance and smart citizens are the same. The definition is the same, but effectively, smart governance it means more governance from governments. The obligation of governments to listen citizens, to organize their own government with open mentality to people thinkings. And smart citizens refer more to citizens, the role of citizens, the right and the possibility of citizens to opine, not every 4 or 5 years voting, nor every day. You can vote symbolic every day or not symbolic, doing a tweet, writing a mail to your government, calling to the councillor, a lot of things with social networks to opine, to imply, and really to move things. And as an example, today I think that, as I said before, that citizen participation evolves to collective intelligence and knowledge management field. And what it means, and an example. I said before what it means to do value to the knowledge of the people. For example, there are different projects in big companies. For example, Banco de Santander, or Banc de Sabadell, or La Caixa, these different banks, or Renfe, or Ferrocarrils de la Generalitat de Catalunya, trains companies, that have methods, have programs to listen not only people in general, nor their own employees. You have knowledge inside your company that maybe you don't capture well. You have, these big companies have thousands of employees, with every worker with his day task, with his day work. But all these people or company maybe don't listen all the possibilities of all the employees. And these programs, company question different things or put in common different projects in order to capture ideas, proposals of all employees, not only the specialized ones in this field. And with this, obviously, the company improved their projects.
Of course, yeah.
I developed a very similar project in Barcelona, co-creation project, where the government launched different projects in order to listen to the people and improve them. It's like a website where you put your ideas with videos, with text, with whatever you want, and then government analyze these ideas, obviously apply it, and even we organized different ceremonies, final ceremony of this project, recognizing the best ideas with pricing or with the mayor, meeting with the mayor, some incentives to participate in these projects.
Okay, that's very interesting. That, as you say, we vote. Well, people vote every 4 or 5 years, but no one actually captures the opinion of your everyday. And we do vote every day, as you say. I mean, we do vote when we buy something and not buy another thing. At least from my perspective, that's a vote as well. Even if we decide not to go to one place but go to the other one, in a sense, it can be also seen as a vote in some way. Your tweet, your social media activity. That's very interesting, and that's true. Normally, these things are not even considered from government, from companies, as you say. So that's amazing. But also, I have lots of questions and doubts regarding how this works. Because, for example, as you say, you have this website where people put their opinions, they can put their ideas. The best ones are selected.
Always technology, sorry. Yeah? Always the channel in these big populations is technology. Technology tools that are better every day. This is a smart citizens, a smart government sense. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean the tool in this example is the portal where you gather public opinion, right? In this example. So what comes to my mind is, how do you ensure that you hear everyone? Because I imagine that some parts of population will not be heard through these platforms because maybe you're not as comfortable with technology that you go on a website, or maybe you haven't even heard of this platform, or there are different reasons. How do you ensure that the data is not, the feedback that you get, that it truly reflects the needs of the city?
Really important what you say. In all citizen participation processes have to be three phases, three processes inside. One is create channels. Channels in plural, not one channel, in plural. So to arrive to all people. You found people, a minority that is really active behind associations, organizations, political parties, or people that attend city hall meetings. This is really easy to capture their opinion,
but it's minority.
Arrive alone. There are the main population that is informed, that is interested, but not every day. You have to create easy channels to arrive to them and capture their opinion. And you have, as you mentioned before, finally a minority but an important people that is not really familiarized with technology, with internet, with website, maybe even houses without exactly internet. This is linked to poverty and older people. This is the two main
excluded groups.
Yes. And you have to create channels, specific channels for these people. Even these channels consist in to go to these people. You have to physically go with your tablet, with your technological tool, but you have to go to the square or to the center of older people or to some geographical neighborhoods, maybe with more poverty in the surroundings of the city, to capture this knowledge. So first step is create channels in plural to arrive to all population. Second, obviously, is to internalize what people say. It's not a good process if you create channels just as a political action, but you are not really interested in
not really using that feedback.
So you have to internalize. You have the culture to internalize what people say and the processes to capture it, because you capture a lot of information. You have to have people, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many people, and the tools to capture, order, and translate to your projects this knowledge. And the third step is basic answer to the people. It's really bad for next participations processes if you don't answer to a citizen that wastes 2 minutes or 2 hours waiting a mail or doing a call or attending a meeting. This person dedicates some hours or minutes of its life, and if he or she don't receive any answer, they really desmotivate.
The next time, no one will answer anything.
So very important, accomplish these 3 steps, and especially in the first, as you mentioned, create a strategy to arrive to all people. So different channels in plural, not in singular one.
And what are some of the? I mean, you have seen the evolution of Barcelona city. You have been capturing feedback. Okay, you gathered, you strategized about different channels. Now you know what's going on. What were the evolution in Barcelona? What are some of the examples that emerged from this kind of feedback culture?
Yes. When I arrived to Barcelona City Hall, some of these fields exist, but as I mentioned before in the beginning of the interview, alone and separate. Obviously, citizen participation exists, but alone, isolate, not important, not as an important department, doing some experiences, but not transversal to government, not affecting to all government, and not changing the culture of governance of this government.
So no action is really taken, and that's that problem that you mentioned before.
Some actions, but not. And open data and transparency begins to exist, but separate and alone. I think the main change is to join all this in one, making sense to everyone, and doing it transversally to all government. All councillors, all directors of City Hall know this project, know this cultural change, and have to apply it. Why have to apply it? Because mayor order it. It's really important in a main organization, as a city hall or a city, that the people who really lead this organization believe in project. So the first thing that I have done is a physical meeting with the mayor close to me, and the mayor says to all directors, all councillors, that this project is important and this project must to be applied.
I thought the first thing that I did was to become mayor. Would be another solution.
Sure. And this go. The change, an example, change in people. I think that society obviously have their own life and evolution, and society evolves faster than administration and politics. This is maybe the main reason of political crisis and political untrust from citizens to politicians. That society evolves really fast. For example, in Catalonia or Spain, from 80s to now, the evolution is really important. And new generations have the necessity to talk, the necessity to express, to participate, to know information about the city. Maybe older generations, we have to remember that in Spain had a dictatorship from 40s to 75, 1975. So older generations, maybe it's okay for them to vote every 4 years and nothing else. Politicians do the work. But this is really different for new generations, and people demands. So I think that society evolves itself. But obviously, if administration and all smart city world provide tools, it's really easy to arrive your opinion. No? Another example, for example, in my Barcelona experience, is the listening network listening process. So with tools of data, of intelligence data, of big data that process what people is saying at the same time, thousands of opinions, thousands of words that are processed, and you have finally the product is what people are talking about in Twitter or in social networks in this moment or in this day. And we receive weekly and inform with the 10 main topics what people is talking about in social networks, ordered by importance and ordered by feeling. So if people is talking about in positive or in negative. And this was a very, I don't know now, but was in 4 years ago, 5 years ago, a very important tool for government that arrived to all councillors what topics are people talking about and guilty of.
That's amazing. So I imagine there is also some AI tools involved and natural language processing. I was actually working on a similar task recently. No, really interesting. And so, as you said, the citizens, I mean, I totally agree. People start to demand more action. There are also different problems that arise and need immediate action. So it's also understandable. And the government, to gain trust, needs to act and react very fast. And also for that trust, one of the things that you have built from scratch is the open government, the open data. And so I think it's a big topic that is also very relevant for our podcast, of course, because it's about data. What is open data, and why do we need it in Barcelona?
Yes, open data is that all the data that is in City Hall, in this case, as a public administration, belong to people, not to administration. Okay, this is the main reason for open data. Our culture, normal culture from these days is if you receive some data, you give value to this data, and people normally store in their computer this data and rest there for all the days and don't use this data. When this data belongs to people. This is an important concept. So we have open data is that we have to open this data for all people. The main question is, or the first question that appears is, which is the limit of the open data? Which data we can open and which data we cannot open? The answer is, if data don't affect to a strategy of City Hall, you can open. Obviously, if you open some data that is some kind of negotiation with a company or with another city, that it's not public, it's not closed, you are affecting a strategy. You have not to open this data, and obviously personal data that is protected for data. The rest of data, you have to open it because belongs to people. And what do people with this? Whatever they want is belongs to them.
What do the people actually do with data? This is one of the, I think, very important questions. Who uses it?
Yes, belongs to them, and you can find people that are doing different kind of studies using this data. People of universities, students that use this data to understand some things. And maybe the most important thing, people that develop economic ways with this data. Begin a startup, begin companies, begin economic models, business models with this data, especially apps. The main example is apps. This example that you put before about bus stop timers, or where I have bicycles in Barcelona, where these kind of apps feed their data from open data of the city, from data of the city.
Okay.
And I want to underline three real important steps to apply open data that we followed when we applied in Barcelona. First is open, obviously. You have to open this data. The second one is that you have to be interested in what happened with this data. Who use, not only how many people is using, who use and to do what. This is important to analyze which of them are interest for people, which of them not, and appears an important dialogue with citizens that they demand things. Why you don't have open the data about, I don't know, meteorology of Barcelona? No, it's true. We go to, and maybe people that say different things or mistakes in your open data web page that you have to correct. This dialogue with users, with citizens, is really important to improve the project. So we have to analyze where go this data and what people do with it. And the third step that I think that public administration almost in Catalonia and Spain are not arrived to third step. They are in one, maybe some administrations in two step, and third is use this data. Apply for its own city hall, its own administration, this own data. So reuse the data to improve your own management. Maybe some companies arrive to third step in data governance is your field. Data governance and different big data, etc. But public administration now is opening files. Maybe some of one following what happens, and very few public administrations really using their own data.
That's, I think, is so important. Like I learn about this right now in my work, especially like once you move into actually productionalizing your technology, you start to understand that it's not only about technology itself. You can build the most amazing tool that will be, I mean, let's say you can build the most amazing AI algorithm that will achieve the highest performance metric on your metric of choice, and will be very accurate and very precise. But if no one uses this tool that you developed, it's like the last 5% of the job to make it clear to the people, to market maybe your solution, your tool that you developed, that if you don't do that 5%, 95% of the impact is lost. It might have been very positive, but if people don't, if the developers, in this case also the government of Barcelona, develop some tools that are not actually used, that's a big failure. I think that everyone has to learn from. And you said that it's very interesting that I didn't. It's not very obvious to me, at least, that on the side of users, there are citizens, there are academia, research, and also companies. That new companies that emerge that use this data to develop new business models. That's pretty amazing. On the other hand, who is not using this data?
Yeah,
but should, and why?
Yes, this is the debate that I think that arrives now when we have open data, we are analyzing, but the next step of open data thinkings and fields is to arrive to all society.
Yeah.
Not only to these 5% of startups, companies, students, university, and academic people, even to all society. No? Mm-hmm. We arrive to the debate about the quality of data and the presentation of it, the feeling, the look and feel of open data websites and how to use this data. In the beginning, open data websites were really technicals, without look and feel, just the files there, and you have to download and you have the data. We evolved to with very good criteria to another step, another phase of these websites that is different, with look and feel, more sensitive to people, easy to look, easy to use. But finally you arrive to the same files, really difficult files for normal people to download, to understand. They are Excels and different kind of data that are not easy or impossible for most of people. Maybe next step is we pass from really technical websites to more sympathetic websites and easy to use. We have to go to modernize or to improve these files. No? How you present the data. And they are really different companies that are working in, visualizing data. No? And this is the next step to arrive to all people.
Making use
visualization.
I think it's a very great initiative. Also, you already have the tools to gather the feedback, to understand what is the most important to people, to understand also what kind of dashboards might be. I mean, I would love to see a dashboard in the city of Barcelona that shows the air contamination or different kind of things. I'm sure there are so many great ideas. Maybe even, I don't know, imagine like the recycling rate in Barcelona, because it's also something that depends on us. I mean, on contamination, well, if I have a car, I'll probably still drive a car. But if it's a recycling rate of organic trash, and you can clearly design the message to, hey, this is the metric. 1 year ago we were here. You can make the change. I think
to check. Yeah,
there are lots of. I think there are lots of great opportunities there.
And even, obviously, to listen political opinion of people. Not only showing data for people to use is a tool, big data in general. Open data is for public administration, big data is the global concept, just to listen how people opine about all. As I said before, we used this tool that we have all people thinkings in social networks weekly. This is really important for all kind of governments and obviously companies. And even the government that don't consider what opine their citizens go to a secure failure in their function, I mean their government. Let me put on the table one special example. Barcelona, Football Club Barcelona. As you know, here in Barcelona is important team, is important for everybody.
I think worldwide, yes.
And Barcelona had a president that changed now, last months, that really, sorry for example, really don't listen to people, really don't listen to associates of Football Club Barcelona. As you know, Barcelona is not a company, it's an association and belongs to their 100,000, more than 140,000 associates. These people opines, these people have knowledge linking to another conversation. This before president really don't listen people. When you have data, because it's easy, we are talking about tools that can capture the opinion every day of the people. If you have an opinion of 99% against the trainer, for example, against this football player that you pay, I don't know how quantity, he really didn't listen to the people. So people organize peak of signatures to go outside the president. And this is an example very clear, recent in Barcelona, about an institution, important institution, that really don't have mechanism, don't have tools and culture to listen people, and they failed.
Yeah, this is such a great example. And also, I imagine the football fans are also very active in terms of their activity in all kinds of channels.
But not in football, in all. The big majority of people express one opinion in one direction, why government don't listen this opinion and goes in the opposite sense. This have no sense nowadays.
I wonder what other failures have you experienced in developing tools that might be that no one uses them, it might be something else. What were some examples of failures during these 4 or 5 years of smart governance and evolution, and what did you learn from them?
For example, one of them is to explain with a language that people understand. We talked before about it. When you are talking about open government, transparency, data, big data, it's not easy language to people. And people can interpret that you are wasting the money in things that they don't understand and don't really affect their life. This is an explanation for smart cities, and this is an explanation also for open government and these tools. So I don't know if it's a failure, but it's a necessity, very important to explain. Maybe another failure, maybe that few people is, you create all channels, but is few people really participate and express their opinion. More people, a lot of more people than years ago, but maybe we can go farther. Yes, we can work a lot in this sense, no?
And well, let's not just talk about failures. Also the successes. Just give me one example of really big, like that you could actually see a very good response from people in Barcelona.
The success is that Barcelona was not open government, and now change it, but have an open government culture. Excuse me, one failure more. The other failure is that political logical do really difficult to follow projects with a political change. So when arrives a political change, is difficult to maintain projects that don't belongs to one party, belongs to everyone. And maybe it's not good that when one government finish and arrive the other government in Barcelona, they finish open government project, they finish a smart city project and reinvent these projects to another things. No, only because belongs to another party. No, it's not. It's a really failure, not only for a smart city and open government, but here in Barcelona it's a failure. No, and going to your last question. Sorry,
back to the successes as well.
Successes is don't exist open government and now exists open government. Not only the project, even the culture of administration to listening people and of people to talk, to dialogue, to express their opinions. Now in Barcelona is running a very interesting tool that is the CIDIM with the site, the CIDIM, that is spreading around the world. Is a tool of a co-creation tool. You can do polls, votations, participation processes, co-creation processes, and it's the evolution of this open government goes to this tool. So from years ago that don't exist nothing about this to nowadays that exists open government, the CDM, this different thing. This is the success. So the change of culture of the administrations, independent of the tool or the project or the name of the project that you applies. In transparency, the success is less corruption, sure. If you publish data, if you have accomplished different items about transparency, I'm sure that you enforce all procediments of processes of administrations and protect from corruption, I'm sure. And in open data, it's obviously administrations reserve the data for their own use, and now this data is open.
It's public.
We have to improve a lot of things, as we said before, to improve the look and feel, the use, the visualization, the culture, but we have it. And only this is a success. Only that one startup begins with this open data and progress as a company is a success. And there are lots of examples about this. No? And another success in Barcelona especially is that Barcelona is considered the world capital in mobile and in a smart city, because we have the main world congresses, even the coronavirus, of a smart city and of mobile. So this is really important for Barcelona, and is a success of this kind of policies.
That's true. Yeah, the summer is full of events and conferences. That's true. No, that's amazing. We hope this year as well. No, it's actually a very neat website. I even started to do some analysis on the data, in open data. It looks quite neat, and I have no comparison with before. I will definitely provide all the links to this in the description, the Decidim platform as well. And well, the last minute I would like to give to you, just to have your minute of glory and share anything you want to share. You can tell how people can find you in case someone else is interested for you to give a talk. In any language that you know?
First of all, congratulations again for the initiative. A podcast from Barcelona to the world about data is really, really interesting.
Thank you.
And maybe people can find me, obviously, in LinkedIn, in Twitter, really easy. Carlos Agustí is my name, and you can find. And I want that people prove, think, and propose things and projects in these fields, no? In the dialogue, improving public administration, changing their culture in the dialogue with citizens. For this dialogue, citizens have to talk, have to opine, have to use these tools. This is the challenge, no? That people in place also, not only public administration. And I want that people implies in these new fields about knowledge management. It's really important that evolves from the old citizen participation, where only quantity is valorated, to this knowledge management that we can apply in all kind of organizations. And it's really important to take value of your people, even workers or citizens.
Okay, you heard us. I'm sure people have lots of good ideas. I'll provide all those links as well in the description.
I want to receive these ideas.
Great. I hope you will. And thank you so much for joining me and joining us today. It has been a big pleasure to...
Thank you. A pleasure for me, sure, Pablo.